John Van Sickle.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the February 3rd meeting? Do we have any comments or motions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the minutes from February 3rd, 2026.
Second.
Okay. Great. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Any committee or staff reports tonight?
One thing I wanted to let you all know, I forwarded you an invite for a meeting for our UDM review. We have a session for site plan review committee, so I want to get your feedback on that if you'd like to participate. I believe it is March the 23rd. I sent it to you all, so you can just let me know, or you can RSVP to that. It's Teams meeting invite, but it won't purely be that. You can come here to City Hall for it, or you can join on Teams, I suppose. No reason not to, but hopefully we'll get people together on that date, and we'll be there with our consultant, which is Olson, for helping us perform this review.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is that just site plan members or would that be other?
There's several sessions. One of them is just site plan members.
Okay.
There's one for like the planning commission and things like that.
Got it. Okay.
And this session is very specific to the site plan review function. So we really appreciate your input on the process and the end results.
Great. Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, with that, I think that brings us to our first agenda item, which is the sign plan at the Kansas Medical Center at 1124 West 21st Street. Do we have an applicant here tonight?
Looks like we don't.
Okay.
So in this case, we have got an application to modify the existing monument sign for the Kansas Medical Center. The sign has been there since 2008, and at that time, we did not require that landscaping be installed around the base of a monument sign. So it has been there since that time without landscaping. They're going to modify the sign and replacing the LED panel with one that, there you go, is slightly taller, and the overall height of the sign would increase. It would still stay below the maximum height for a monument sign, so no concerns there. But this is such a modification that it would have to be brought up to current site plan standards, which means that we would require that landscaping bed. Staff feel that we can approve that independently, but of course that's up to you all whether or not you want to grant that to us. Otherwise, the sign does seem to fit the requirements. It's had a slightly different LED panel for years and years, and that has never been an issue with the neighbors or anything else. They understand the regulations there, so we expect them to continue to follow them.
And can you remind me, is it a requirement when we do landscaping around these to irrigate that as well? I assume with the other landscaping in the area, those beds are already irrigated, so it wouldn't be a big deal to request
Right.
that as well.
All the other landscaping will stay in place the way it is. We're just asking for a little more around the sign. And yes. And same as any other landscaping will require that 1/3 evergreen planting so that it looks nice when it's cold.
Great. Well, I guess from my side, I think it would be appropriate or okay to go ahead and grant staff
It's,
the idea.
From my standpoint, it's appropriate too. It should meet current standard.
And why don't we have, sorry, can I ask a question? Why don't we have any examples of the landscape plan now? Were they not aware?
They didn't submit a landscape plan to me before the meeting. I did let them know that was a deficiency, but I don't know if the sign.
I guess when I'm thinking about this and the UDM and all that kind of stuff is like, where did the breakdown come that they didn't know they needed a landscape plan to turn in? Is it just because that's what they were used to? Who's the sign company?
It's a Miracle Signs, and I believe that it's probably because it's an existing sign that already doesn't have it. I don't think they understood that we would add that requirement on if it were modified enough, so to speak.
And then as far as just in my head, that work process goes, they turned this in when?
I don't have the date off the top of my head, but I can tell you.
And Julie, did you notify them that we're going to require a landscape plan with it?
Right, yeah, I said that that was something that's missing from the plan.
Okay.
Yes. Kevin beat me to it, and he says that they applied starting on the 5th.
Date of the signature.
That when they signed that. Okay, great. Yep.
Ish.
So February the 5th.
And then when did you notify them they needed landscaping?
I believe it was that same week. I don't know exactly what day it was.
Okay. Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve with conditions that they turn in a landscape plan to staff. The revised sign plan for Kansas Medical Center, generally located at 1124 West 21st Street, with the condition that a landscaping plan for plantings around the base of the monument be submitted to staff to and approved by staff.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, thanks. We'll wait just a second for Homer to get back, but do we have an applicant for the next agenda item, which is the sign plan for the Capitol Federal Amphitheater?
Yes, we do.
Please.
I'm Virginia Baumgartner with Lumineo Signs, formerly known as Luminous, or essentially a DBA of Luminous Neon.
And would you like to give us just a brief?
Well, what the existing sign are flat cutout metal letters that were put there long ago when you opened the amphitheater. And because you have the lodge next door with a lighted sign and the lodge has been built since this was actually put there, it seemed appropriate that both signs should light in the evening. And so these are to Capitol Federal's amphitheater's logo specifications. And the powered by Evergy letters remain. We just relocate them lower and out of the way. But that size has not changed at all. Those are all the same. Same background. There's EFS on the other side. The wiring will end up coming inside the sign to the back, and the back will be finished as well as possible. And less visible than it was when it was originally put in, since the lodge was built behind it.
So the Evergy part of the sign stays the same. The Capitol Federal Amphitheater letters are all
They will
new.
all be lighted. The powered by Evergy letters are actually too small to internally illuminate.
And so you said the Cap Fed letters will be internally
Capitol Federal
lit
Amphitheater letters will all be illuminated,
internally.
internally illuminated.
And on the backside, you said it was EFS and it's gonna be
They're-
reworked
yes,
to be
they're gonna-
concealed
It's going to be
still.
wired, and then there'll be something done to finish the back of it off.
Do you know what that would be?
I believe we will probably put some sort of metal with a painted texture to come as close as we can to the EFS. It won't be the EFS itself. I would like to have the entire back painted a color that will blend in. So I actually have picked two colors. Hard to tell which is as close as it can be to the stone or the EFS that was there, but it will be painted from behind.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So this stone that's here
That
was
stone is existing.
existing. It was already there. We're
It
just
was
changing the
already
sign.
there, and the only thing that has changed over time is it actually was powered by Western Resources, basically Westar previously, and then Evergy, when it bought out, got changed over to powered by Evergy. So it has been the same since the amphitheater was built.
And then the ground cover won't in any way affect it once that stuff's mature.
Should
It
not.
won't affect the front of the sign at all.
Should not. I honestly don't know that for certain.
Do you know how the existing sign is mounted to the face of the stone? Is it
Yeah,
gonna be
the
holes
existing
to- you
signs
need to
mounted
fill
to
in
the face of
afterwards?
the stone is stud mounted. So they are little studs with threads mounted into the back of the letters themselves and then put into the wall, drilled and put into the wall
So those will be patched over when they're
as well as
removed.
possible. Yeah, there actually is a caulk that looks like limestone, but it's never perfect. And it may be that it will look better without them filled than filled, but that's up to you. If you want them filled, I have no problem with that.
Do you have any idea how many locations are going to be present, meaning how many old holes will be seen?
No, I'm sorry, do not. I would say there's a minimum of 3 per letter, with the exception of an I, 2.
Do we think staff could make that decision? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's,
fill it with caulk or not fill it with caulk? You think Les or Julie, you guys could handle that?
It could also
Certainly.
be something that if you decide that you don't like it after it has been installed, that there are some things that need to be patched that we can come back.
Probably
and do.
easily add caulk to it as
Yes.
opposed to
Yes.
removing caulk.
And it also needs to be temperature-wise, something that may need to be done a little later also so that it cures properly.
And then Capital Federal's okay with getting rid of the logo?
This Capital Federal specifically, their VP of marketing, Patrick Salisbury, gave me that logo and said, this is what you use.
Okay.
So that's why it says Capital Federal Amphitheater in that particular stacked and centered format.
Now, did you guys do the lodge sign?
Yes, we did. Chuck Carson
So
was a salesperson for that.
Essentially, both monument signs will look similar in size of lettering and lighting.
Well, the lodge actually only has a very few number of letters.
Sure.
So
Sorry, I
but
meant size of the letter. Like,
size of the letters are nowhere near each other because the lodge could be much taller on that wall than Capital Federal Amphitheater can be.
okay, I see what you're saying. But are they? What am I looking for, Todd? Are they
Proportionate?
proportionate? Thank you, Julie.
Well, I think without having the lodge artwork in front of me,
Mhm.
I think that they both look fine on their own, but Capital Federal will have
Probably go back
more
to that
letters.
lodge sign and pull that dimension.
Okay.
There is a minimum stroke to have a serif, which is the little edges or flat pieces. If you're a Times Roman versus an Arial, which is a block letter, there's a minimum stroke on that for them to light properly. Otherwise, you have black things on the edges instead of having the artwork. So the word amphitheater has to be large enough so the stroke will light all the way out to the edges of the letters.
is the intent for the blue to be there during day and at night, or is it going to be white lit at night with,
It
Like
will be
final.
blue.
it'll be blue both day and night? Okay.
And there is external lighting there that we are not responsible for that I think that the Parks and Rec people will probably take out when it's finished.
Do you know approximately how many studs hold each letter on?
Again, depending on the letter itself, if you're the F, you probably have 4 studs in it. They actually have patterns that are reverse so that you drill it basically exactly where they need to go. So we aren't guessing in the field. There'll be patterns set up for where they go. And then there's one more hole for each letter that goes into the wall for the low voltage LED wire to go through, but that will be hidden by the letter as well. So there are studs that hold it onto the limestone, and then there's one penetration all the way through to the inside to light the letters.
Experience would tell me that probably more important than these stud holes is that the limestone be power washed to get rid of those dirt and fading shadows before the caulking's applied, before the new letters are applied.
Do you want the letters taken down early in the week and installed late in the week in order to allow Parks and Rec to do that, depending on weather?
That seems like the right thing to do.
Because where my thought was at with that is that we have approximately 20 plus letters. There's a good chance you take 20 times 3 or 4, we're going to now see 80 to 100 holes in the front of the sign. And what are we doing to be prepared for that, to rectify that?
I don't know that you're going to see 80 to 100 holes because the letters are larger and they will cover up quite a few of those other holes as they are. But there could very well be spaces, locations between the new letters that the old letter studs were. So that's why I suggested if you don't like it, after the new sign is put up, we come back in and say, okay, this stud bothers me because it's here. You know, this hole bothers me. It doesn't look right. And
I think I would recommend help with staff's help select a colored sealant or something exterior rated to blend in. Cause I've seen a lot of applications where there are colors very close to limestone. So I think if you
Mhm.
power washed it, sealed them, let them cure and then go back and drill your new holes, that'll relieve that concern of seeing holes after the fact. Is the backside, how visible is the backside of this? I'm trying to remember if there's any landscape buffer on the backside of
There is
this.
no landscape buffer on the backside.
There's not, it's just
No.
concrete all the way up to it, basically.
Well, it's
or
not concrete, it's grass to the back of the sign.
grass,
It's
okay.
all grass to the back of the
So-
sign.
Yeah, but there's
You would
nothing,
kind of have to be looking for it to catch much of a view of the back of these with the lodge being right there.
yeah, okay.
When you say grass, is it ornamental grass or just fescue?
Fescue.
Just the same that's out around the lodge out there.
And there's gonna be no power stuff or boxes in the back of the sign,
It should,
back of the stone or whatever.
it should all be within the ephes, but we are not responsible for primary power either.
Sorry, I need a translator.
So are you telling me that there is some sort of an electrical raceway that would be required?
Well, no, we're not doing a raceway there. I'm saying the power may have a junction box in the back somewhere. And then there'll be, again, one penetration through the stonework into the middle of that wall where it's not stone and stone like it is for the lodge. It's stone and ephes on the backside. So some ephes will be removed in order to manually be able to wire them together within the wall itself.
So you have one poke
One
into the backside of the wall. You're
for
gonna get
each.
into the middle of the wall. You're gonna remove the ephes, then you're gonna have to poke for each letter. Each individual letter, you're gonna poke
We're
through the
gonna have
front
to
of the
cut
stump.
into the ephes
Yeah.
and manage it in some way for us to, and then there needs to be a way also to service it in the future.
It's gonna need an access panel.
Yes.
Right, so essentially they're gonna have to build a raceway
Hmm.
for the wires that go to each letter.
It almost sounds like the whole back side of this is gonna need to be accessible. Just with how many letters.
You can have the wiring whips be within reach that you can actually hook to get into a certain place for the power supplies to come together in a box somewhere. So you can have whips that are longer from the ends than they need to be in the middle if that's where the power supply is best decided to be and the primary power is best decided to be.
It almost seems like maybe there's two access panels or one towards each end or something, or at least one in the middle, but then the ephes is gonna have to be redone essentially, it
The
sounds
ephes is
like.
not very pretty right now anyway. It could stand to be power washed should it be able to survive, but I actually, it's got some issues across the top where I think that the water from the capstone has run around to the backside.
What is is it just, well, we may not know if it's just cement board behind the ephes, I assume, the original construction, but may have to look at a different material or going back with ephes. So you don't have plans necessarily, or you're not sure how the power is getting connected, so we may have to take power from, that's being abandoned on the front side from the face lights and reroute it to the backside to.
So what we'll do is we'll get the power ran, get that back in there, look and see how we can get it patched in. If the ephes is in, when we get into it, if the ephes is damaged from water or something like that, then we'll just go ahead and contract in and get it redone, right? We're not going to leave anything in there that doesn't look good. We spent a lot of money on the lodge, so the intent is to make it look good and not call attention to it. But we do need to have an access panel to service that electrical. My experience has been on these things, we're going to have to be in there at some point before we do totally redo the sign anyway. So we'll obviously have to have a metal in there. Probably, I'm envisioning maybe even repainting the whole back when it's all said and
So
done.
that's why I said I have two colors picked out that I thought were close enough that it matched the existing ephes.
Okay, thanks for the clarification on that.
Mr. Director, I do, and I'm the lay person of this group, so I don't deal with this routinely. So I guess let me just ask this question. Kids are playing at the playground there, right? Oh, hey, go look at the sign. Is there gonna be wires on the backside, or are they gonna be
No.
contained somehow?
No, they're going to be within the wall,
Okay,
within the wall.
okay.
So.
And that
no.
access panel is gonna be
Quite
18 by
likely that
18, or
it can be metal that could be textured and painted depending on what we determine.
what kind of size is the access panel?
It can vary, and that's a 22-foot wide curved wall.
Yeah.
So you can have one here that you could have one on each end that could easily be 16 inches to by 4 foot each. But we haven't exactly laid that out. It depends on where the primary electrical is better to come from the electrical standpoint, then we run to that.
So
I don't think we
Virginia
can
hit a
build,
good-
I don't think we need to build a whole metal piece all the way across 22 feet on the back.
Okay,
And it is more invisible as far as having people see it because the building is behind it. And it wasn't there before. It was freestanding out in the middle of dirt all by itself when it was initially built.
I've had a lot of experience with that material. It's really hard to match. It's really hard to patch. I'm wondering if the right answer is just a flat metal panel from the electrical service entry point for all of these whips, just to cover a strip across the back, screwed into the ephes. Done.
What we did for the lodge was we built, because it only said the lodge, was we built much larger box raceways, and then they put the stonework on the backside around it. So they patched in the stone that would fit correctly around it. Because unless that name changes in the future, there shouldn't be any issue to get to a power supply or the wiring within the boxes that we had. To the best of my knowledge, there was no reason or purpose to put all new limestone on the back of this sign. That's a decision we wouldn't make either. It would be Parks and Rec who would make that decision.
thank you for the clarification. Daniel, I saw you standing up. Did you want to add anything?
Not necessarily, just if you was just standing by in case you had more questions about the space around the site.
My only was the grass, and I'm assuming Parks would mow it if the sign becomes hidden with grass or ornamental grass or whatever, but you guys are good about that, so I don't really think that's an issue, but.
Yeah, the picture on the exhibit there is mid-construction of the lodge, so the front landscaping there was trampled, et cetera, under plywood. But right now, and Rick's got the aerial if you want to see it, but right now, essentially the plan from 9-ish years ago or so was somewhat, I think it was somewhat reinstituted. We've got about 17 or 18 grama grass clumps in there and a lot of low catmint up front, which is similar to the original plans back in the day. The maiden grasses were obscuring a lot of the later lettering, and those were removed many years ago just because they weren't conducive to the stuff. But everything in there right now is 18 to 20 inch type high stuff, and our crews will trim the native clump grasses in the early season too to help manage them.
Any additional questions, comments?
I mean, I think I would be okay with all this, just subject to the backside of the meeting staff approval.
Agreed. Yeah.
Is there ability to match the backsides of both so they look the same? No. Okay. Disregard.
Well, and I would point out that, like it's kind of mentioned, the back side of the newer sign is very visible from the front area and so forth. This one is less visible. It's a little bit more to the side. The other one's more centered to the building
Right. Okay.
a little bit.
Sorry, it's also kind of built into the hill.
Yeah, it's
Wasn't
got,
there before.
yeah, there's a lot more slope there because the change in elevation with the new building. So the back is really not very visible
Okay.
anymore, and its height of visibility is down quite a bit. So doing the stonework back there, we'd have to do a lot of work to get it there, and expense I think would be wasted for what's going to be seen.
You'd also have to have some sort of footing back there to hold up the additional rock, which is part of the expense he's speaking of.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Director,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the revised sign plan for the Capitol Federal Amphitheater, generally located at 1607 East Central Avenue, with staff's approval on the caulk and back of sign.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to the third agenda item, the sign plan at Scooters, 626 South Andover Road. I do not see any other applicants.
I believe we have a virtual applicant this time, potentially, but I can talk while they see if they can get onto here. Scooters is revising their existing sign plan, which currently consists of two identical logo and business name signs. It's 626 South Andover. One is facing out toward the road to the front of that building, and then one is facing to the north near the Dillons there. They're wanting to add an additional small sign on that northern elevation, kind of where the drive-through goes by. Since that northern elevation only had the one small scooter sign on it, since there's no other businesses along that frontage, there is ample room for more wall signage there. So they're nowhere near their maximum for that elevation. Additionally, they want to retrofit the existing channel letters that are there, just so that they would be illuminated like the new one is, so it'll all look very much the same. The existing signs are staying in place. They're just being retrofitted. Don't know if they can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yep, I'm here.
Do you have anything you want to add to that description?
Just the only thing I would add was the existing signs that were there those are actually supposed to be on like a individual, on a standalone business. Those would be on the sides, the drive-through and the other side of the building. And then actually their true logo was a circle with scooters, saying scooters through it. But aesthetically, this building, since it was a multi-tenant, they did the channel letters the way that it is now. And then about 2 years ago, they changed their main logo, which is the emoji now. And instead of putting that in place of one of the other signs, due to aesthetics, all the holes that were drilled for the channel letters and placement, they decided to go ahead and try to just put the logo on that north side of the building rather than take one of the other ones down, have to fill a bunch of holes, fading in the stone and such. So it was more an aesthetic deal to just add that sign rather than replace it on one of the other signs.
Sir, could you give us your name and your affiliation?
Yeah, Chris Hampton. I'm with Springfield Sign.
Thank you.
So where's the emoji going?
It's on
Like
that
when you're
north
coming
side
around
of the
through the
building
drive-thru.
where the drive-through
This
is.
sign. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, over the drive-through or over the window by the drive-through.
Right.
Yeah.
Is
And then the
canopy still-
retrofit. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. Is the canopy above the drive-through still staying?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, this will actually go on the stone part just beside it. And the retrofit will be you won't see anything. It'll just be an internal drill in, and it'll just be retrofitted inside of the sign for the illumination on LEDs.
Seems pretty straightforward overall. So any other
So
discussion
the
comments?
letters will be lit by like the emoji one playing in here? Yeah. okay.
Correct.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep, and I'll have the same, it sounds like the same exact footprint on the stone and same size and everything, just a.
Correct. They're
one-
just adding their new logo over on the stone beside the drive-through window.
And nothing will be changed out by the road or need anything?
No,
changed out there?
no, aesthetically, nothing will change. It'll just be a retrofit for the LED. Signs will look exactly the same. They'll take the faces off, retrofit the LED inside, and that's it. So that will look nothing. There's no change in the way those signs are.
I meant on the monument sign, but that's probably a.
Oh, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
thing.
No, the monument sign, it should not be changing.
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the revised sign plan for Scooters Coffee, generally located at 626 South Andover Road.
Second.
Okay, great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. We appreciate the information.
Thanks, Chris. for
All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, that brings us to our last agenda item, the sign plan for Myers Automotive at 936 North Andover Road.
Yeah, so Myers Automotive has an existing monument sign out along Andover Road that they would like to replace with a pole that is basically the monument sign just up. It's almost exactly the same design overall. The height of it would be about 20 feet, and the maximum that the applicant is allowed to have is 20 feet. So they are at exactly the height that they are allowed to have for the MXI zoning district. The pole would have a square sheath on it that is the same blue as is already on the Myers sign, so it would kind of blend in there. And it would show the street number of the business. You can see it's kind of small in white there. This applicant did include a landscaping bed as part of their plan. Of course, same as the other property, there is existing landscaping that will all remain in place, but then a small landscaping bed will be around the base of the pole with that evergreen cover that they're aware they need to have.
So from staff's standpoint, this is all within all
This meets all the regulations, yeah.
No variances here or exceptions.
It's
or
the
anything,
maximum
yeah.
height they're allowed to have, and the district, the MXI district, doesn't have any additional restrictions besides that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Julie, this might be before you. Wasn't there something about, I thought we were getting rid of pole signs or not doing pole signs?
I was
or-
gonna bring up the same thing. I thought we were trying to,
The
the
UDM
low
does
profile.
currently say that pole signs are permitted. So as of 2018, when that was adopted, pole signs were permitted.
The UDM allows pole signs, but in the comprehensive plan, it's suggested that pole signs are phased out in lieu of monuments.
So that's something for our UDM review that we'd love to have as official feedback.
because I'm just thinking, what if everybody on Andover Road wants to do
Exactly.
a 20-foot pole sign?
So there are some distinctions here in the UDM. A monument, to be a monument, has to be less than 15 feet. In this case, they're asking for 20, which then, to be that additional 5 feet high, has to be a pole sign. It can't be a monument sign.
And then, oh, sorry.
Oh, nothing. I guess I'm just thinking through where the closest pole sign would be, because it seems like we have more on South Andover Road, right? In my mind anyway. More
Right,
so.
closer
more
to
so.
the big traffic areas.
Right.
Well, I'm just thinking like, yeah, who else has besides the fast food places? Who else has a
The
pole sign?
Doesn't
Plaza Shopping Center,
the I can't remember, the oil change on the west side and South Andover Road? Don't they have a pole sign too?
and Starbucks, yes.
Yeah.
But the Plaza Shopping Center has pole sign. Wendy's is a pole sign, if I remember correctly.
The bank pole sign.
The bank is the monument.
There's another-
Um,
And then I don't see a photometric plan, and the only reason sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
The only reason I asked this question is because I drive by this sign pretty routinely. It seems like it's the most lit up sign, and it could be comparative to there's nothing else around it lit up. Like there's, I think, a tooth place, a dentist next door. Their sign's not really lit up.
Right.
So this is the only sign in that area maybe that is lit up, with the exception of Dollar General
Right.
down south. So
From time to time, we have to remind them that the LED has to be dimmed at night.
Well, and I think the LED, when you're raising it, it's gonna be even more kind of in your face, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I
Starts
guess,
to look like a billboard, I guess is what I'm thinking. Like
right. I guess
digital billboards.
What is there a neighborhood behind here? No, it's the Jag and the bus barn.
Right, it's a
Neighbors would be
block or-
to the
block or
west of this,
so
right?
to the northwest would be the nearest neighborhood.
Is the intent to refurbish the landscaping at the base of the sign?
There was not a specific landscaping bed around the monument because it was also one that predated that requirement. So this would be a new landscaping bed around what would be the base of the pole. There is existing like site landscaping. There's like parking lot screening and stuff like that, which was very near the monument. So it's kind of included in that, but they didn't have like specific flowers around the base.
When you said it was before specifics, isn't this a new? When was this built? And then when did we start requiring landscape around the monument sign?
This would have been built before the UDM in 2018, when we added the prescriptive standards for landscape beds.
Myers came in before 2018.
Yes.
Their site plans were approved in 2017.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, I'd agree. It'd be good to review this during the UDM discussion, I think, about maybe seeing to have that align more with the comprehensive plan.
Right. Close that contradiction.
Yeah.
That's on the list of revisions that we've made to the consultant.
We do require that sheath around the pole, which they have complied with. So a pole sign can't have just a bare metal
Mhm.
stick. It does have to have that sheath on it, and they did plan for that.
As far as the relative distance to the sidewalk, this is closer. The outside, the very, I'll call it the left edge, at least what I'm seeing on here, is ultimately closer to that sidewalk than the monument sign was before. Because that left edge is basically hanging over that green little Evergy box or whatever down below it with the new sign. And the old monument sign, it looks like there's a couple feet in between those two. So do we know, can they actually shift this closer? 'Cause I guess there are trees sticking up in front of the old monument sign that aren't really graphically represented the same way, right? So I'm just curious, is the intent, can it be moved closer? And maybe it's just, again, a graphic thing here, but I guess we'd want to make sure that they're not encroaching with this new sign into the right of way.
Sure, yeah. And
Yeah.
on their permit review for this, we'll make sure that they keep it out of that right of way.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I really just do have some concerns of the brightness, and I realize we have to, is there anything we can do about requiring it not to be able to be lit up that bright? Because I have concerns of, we're taking this brightness that, I mean, I'll be honest with you, sometimes obnoxiously bright at night, and now we're going to raise that in the air. I realize we have businesses on the east side of the road there, at night. But on the west side, we do have some residents over there. Is elevating it And not just the immediate west side of Andover Road, but is it elevating it enough that, you know, some of those homes off of Andover Road, and I'm 2 homes back, let's say, are gonna be seeing this lit up more? I don't know. I just have some concerns about taking this this sign up.
I agree, the LED screen, and it being higher, I just think it's gonna be really bright and really stand out. And then, like I said, what if several other businesses just want to do the same thing?
I think part of this lies after in that how we enforce those rules. Because if Myers is already not following rules, then what corrective action has been done to say you shouldn't do this?
It's a constant reminder that dimming is required. Myers has a tendency to use white lights and yellow lights that appear very bright in an area where there isn't much signage. The Doc Foley sign isn't brightly lit. The collision center isn't brightly lit. Police department, fire department, they aren't brightly lit. This is the only one that really stands out in the area because its surroundings are pretty dark.
Are those common reminders unique here, or is that common across Andover that?
Across the board, we kind of have to remind owners that they have to dim these LEDs. You know, these things are infinitely programmable.
Mhm.
And they drop a program in and maybe they forget to turn on the dim function, or some of them are programmable by the calendar and daylight savings time and all that comes in, and others actually have a dimming sensor. All that are sources for little failures that require us to go out and give reminders.
And the
So-
light level of lighted signs is something that we've called out in our UDM review as something to modernize. Our regulations are not as prescriptive as a lot of other cities, so we don't have as much power to say you've crossed this particular threshold and now it's a problem.
And then my other comment would be, what happens when that threshold's crossed and somebody says,
If they don't want to comply with the zoning regulations, then they'd be issued a zoning violation by me.
do you think it's severe enough to stop behavior?
I haven't had it not work yet. Generally, the threat of a bunch of fines from the city is enough to get most people to listen.
I mean, I do like the concept of the sensor, because even if they get a new program dropped in or a calendar update, that type of thing, it seems like that would be a fail safe against the dropping out the dimming. I wonder if that's again, might be a UDM discussion, but I wonder if that's a strong suggestion to include that with these types of signs.
What I've heard from the sign providers is they prefer the calendar because it's not a mechanical device that can fail.
But it can probably be overridden easier, right? If
Say
it's-
that again?
What I hear from the sign providers is that dimming switch is a device that can fail. It gets blown upside down. It gets something on the lens. Its photocell fails, where the calendar knows that on March the 3rd, sunset is at 7:38 p.m. and it should dim. Ultimately, I think the question here is, pole sign or not. The internals are essentially the same as they are today.
And how tall was the existing sign? I'm trying to remember what, if Julie, maybe you said that earlier, if the,
Give us a number,
It's
was
like-
it 15?
I thought you said they could max out at 15, but did it?
It's
15 is the max for a monument.
but 20 for a pole sign.
Yes.
So essentially, we're talking about an additional potentially 5 feet if the existing sign was at 15.
All right, I'm trying to pull up their old site plan.
And just for clarification, Les, while Julie's looking that up, Phil, Jumpstart. We just recently approved that, maybe December, January. Is that a monument sign or is that a pole sign? Because that definitely was 20 feet, right?
It was 20 feet tall, yes.
It was a pole, yes.
That's a pole, but it just, you don't see the pole all the way down. I think in that area, you know, I mean, again, there's a lot of homes up there, right? That sign looks different, I believe, than this one would, as far as it's solid all the way down, as opposed to, like, you can't see the pole on that one. And I just think with 21st Street, the turnpike there, that sign kind of adds to where, you know, those businesses right there.
It's all about context.
Yeah. I personally, UDM not, there has to be some, again, this is the layperson in me. There should be, whether I turn it on at 8 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock at night, there should be a max, the LED. I mean, all the technology goes in this. You're telling me they can't figure out how to program it. I mean, it would be something if it happened once or twice with the changing of the hours in the day. But if we're routinely dealing with this, it's like something.
So what I hear from the sign providers is a lot of the national brands are controlled by the mothership at the home office. They're running a program and it's telling their signs across the country what the message is, when to brighten up, when to dim in the evening. This being a local business, maybe they don't have that technology.
But to that point, that is why we brought this up at the very beginning of the UDM review process with our consultant, that our regulations are out of date in this area. So staff is not empowered to regulate as much as we think we should be able to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in some cases, it might take a complaint for somebody to be aware, right, to drive out, and so.
Homer's taken my evening inspections on North Andover Road. I used to drive it a lot.
Seems
I'll
reasonable.
pass that torch to Homer.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move to disapprove the sign plan for Myers Automotive, just generally located at 936 North Andover Road.
Second.
Okay, do we need to provide context to that disapproval, or?
I would suggest, yes, that you explain your reasoning
Okay.
about the conflict with the UDM and the context of the area.
I think context of the area, it doesn't, you know, while it's kind of a blended area with businesses and neighbors, the way they're operating their current sign now, I don't think elevating that brightness into the air is conducive to the area, and or I don't think, even if it was just a pole sign in plain, no LED, I don't think it's conducive to the area. And because the UDM in that conflict, I'm against it.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, I think everybody's spoken. So all those not in favor, say aye.
I,
Wait,
In favor
I-
of disapproving.
I moved to disapprove, so that would be all in
Yeah.
favor. right?
Okay, true.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So we don't
All
disapprove,
those
right?
in favor to disapprove, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, this sign plan does not meet approval at this time. Okay. On that, after that, any other member items or discussion? Okay, any motions for adjournment? All motion to adjourn, any seconds?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all those opposed, same sign. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.